Thank you, dear Professor Dudas. Dear colleagues, dear friends, it's a really great honor to be here today with you. And I think that Professor Petrov yesterday gave his speech and some kind of introduction of our work within the ProfNet group, our ProfNet group. So my presentation, actually the title is somehow connected with the title of the whole conference, Lessons Unlearned or Learned, and Serbia's Path Towards European Integrations. I choose this term learned or unlearned because European Union has already used this term cases for Serbia and other Western Balkans countries as lessons learned cases. So it means that whatever your countries have done wrongly during your accession to the EU, they will try now to fix in the case of Western Balkan countries. And that's why I will start with a little broader approach, with the approach of the whole European, of the integration of Western Balkan countries, because we are somehow intertwined and our integrations are interconnected. Whether we want it or we do not want it, or whether we like it or we do not like it, this is what actually happens in the region. Okay, Turkey or Turkey is a case for itself, and I will not comment on it. Then we have North Macedonia with, you can see here since 2004 when they submitted their application. So almost 20 years waiting for the start of negotiations, and still there is no, probably it won't happen. They changed their constitutional name. That was a huge thing for a tiny state in the Balkans. Now they are facing Bulgarian requirements, or their identity is challenged, and that is a huge issue that probably we will see in the future how it will be resolved. Montenegro is a front runner, as they call Montenegro, because they actually until the end of this year probably will close 4 chapters. And if that happens, they will have only 2 chapters that actually will close at the end of the negotiation process. Those are chapters 34 and 35. But here we also can see that this history of Romania and Bulgaria is repeating. So the process is becoming more technical and not so, let's say, real integration of the country, because only a few months ago Montenegro adopted more than 14 laws, different laws, and amended 14 laws just in order to get the positive IBAR or IBAR interim benchmark assessment report. So we will see how they will implement those regulations. Serbia is somewhere in the middle, so only 2 clusters have been opened, and I will speak about Serbia later during my presentation. Only 15 days ago, Albania opened the first cluster here during the Hungarian presidency, and we probably Albania will, because they have aligned their foreign policy with the EU and there are no open issues, probably they will become also one of the countries that will be front runners. Bosnia and Herzegovina is a case for itself. They have internal issues to resolve first. There are 14 different topics that they have to address before starting the negotiation process. And now what makes our countries anxious is what you see at the end of this here loop or on this list, is what happened with our so-called Eastern partnership countries, or Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia. In the case of Turkey, it took decades to achieve the same results, in the case of Western Balkans countries, years, and you can see that from March 2022 to June 2022, those three countries have succeeded, something that for Western Balkan countries was very difficult. And I do not cite President of Albania, Rama, very often, but what he said actually is that we should invite each other in Western Balkans. That's Balkanic way to resolve the problem. So if we invite each other, probably we will join the EU much faster than it happens now. So in order to resolve or to accelerate this process of European integrations, European Commission adopted in 2020 the new enlarged methodology, enhancing the accession process a credible EU perspective for the Western Balkans. Of course, the reason was the problems in negotiations with North Macedonia and Albania, but actually real reasons were much deeper, and the president of French, Emmanuel Macron, asked several times for this new methodology to be introduced. And actually this new methodology, as you can see here, should be based on four main principles: credibility, stronger political steer, more dynamic process, and predictability for both sides. What we are looking for forward is this predictability for both sides. We hope that really after each step is made by the candidate states, that there will be a response from the EU, or at least that EU will recognize it and help the further integration. What was actually mentioned here is the introduction of clusters instead of negotiation chapters. This is something new that does not change actually a lot the whole process. What is important is the cluster number 1, fundamentals, and it puts the focus on the rule of law. Our colleague mentioned in the morning the rule of law and the problem of the rule of law in the Western Balkans that is noted in many reports of Western Balkan countries. So this chapter will be first opened and last closed. So the pace of European integration of those countries will depend all the time on the requirements or the fulfillment of requirements set up in the cluster number 1. Of course, when we talk about the rule of law, I don't say nothing else, nothing more than our colleague said in the morning. But here is why we do have a problem. This is a quote from Minister Judith Varga from Hungary. So it is not easy. I think all lawyers here could give a different definition of what the rule of law is. And now you have, how to say that, maybe bad students. If we say that Western Balkan countries are bad students that could not pass to the next grade, or maybe the worst students, and then the EU decided to increase the criteria. So imagine your students, for example, and most of them pass to the next year, and then you have a bunch of not so good of them, and then instead of helping them, you try to increase the criteria and wait and expect for them to comply with those new criteria. I hope that we will receive at least as candidate country some help in resolving what the rule of law actually is, but I do not want to focus now on there is missing what is also important. This new methodology introduces reversibility, and this reversibility is extremely important because it reminds of the Article 7 that was mentioned also this morning of the TEU. So in the case that European Commission or every member state can initiate this procedure that can result in stopping the whole process of negotiations or even opening or closing chapters. So this will, I think, increase the whole process to make it more, how to say, focused on the problem of the rule of law in all other countries. Here now I would like to focus a little bit on Serbian case. From the first intergovernmental conference held in 2014 until 2019, there were 11 another conferences, and all other chapters, all chapters that you can see here have been opened. After the adoption of new methodology that was not actually mandatory for Serbia, but Serbia and Montenegro voluntarily adopted them. So you can see that 2 clusters have been opened in June 2021 and December 2021. Since then, there were no new chapters or new actually clusters that are opened. We hope that until the end of this year, cluster number 3 will be opened, and that will be first next step towards the full integration or towards the full membership in the EU. So what are the unique or problems or cases here? To swim or to sink is actually the title of this comics here that you can see. First of all, chapter number 35. Probably you mentioned yesterday this chapter number 35. Usually for your countries it was a chapter that contains other issues, nothing special. But in the case of Serbia, this is the chapter that has only one another issue, that is normalization of relations with Pristina, with the institutions in Pristina. So this is somehow the unique case until now. We will see what will happen in the case of Moldova, of Ukraine and Georgia, because all of those 3 countries have some territorial disputes. In Transnistria, in Georgia, there are a few occupied zones. In Ukraine, okay, we all know. And also Cyprus actually became a full member of the EU without resolving the issue of this island is split between 2 main ethnic groups, Turks and Greeks. But in the case of Western Balkans, European Union is very keen to make Western Balkans countries to resolve their disputes, and not only in the case of Serbia, also in other cases. So in this chapter 35, if you open this chapter, you will see that there is only EU common position. There is no position of the Republic of Serbia. Like in all the other chapters, you have position of the candidate country and the EU common position. So it shows that this process is somehow directed by the EU and forced by the EU. So there is no, at the moment at least, the other side actually doesn't want to show that wants to participate in that kind of process. It does participate, of course. Also, the problem here is that European Union insists on the implementation of agreements that I think Professor Petro mentioned yesterday. But it is very strange that it is a requirement for Serbia that does not. That Serbia cannot fulfill. It depends on the other side. So the integration of Serbia is somehow conditional not only on its own political will, but also on the political will of institutions in Pristina. So until now, we do not see that this new methodology introduced or accelerated the European integrations in the case of Western Balkans countries. maybe this opening of the cluster number 1 of Albania was something that can be connected with this new methodology, but I'm not sure. I think that this is more connected with geopolitics and politics in a wide meaning of that term. And probably also in the case of Serbia, this answer to this question, to swim or to sink, is connected with this, with the geopolitical situation. And probably we will, during this ceremony of opening first cluster with Albania, Edi Rama, I will cite him again, but very unusual. He thanked for three times. He thanked Vladimir Putin for opening negotiations, because his idea was that actually without this war in Ukraine that was initiated by Putin, probably Albania won't be in this situation to open this first cluster, and they will wait still with North Macedonia. And probably maybe the whole region will have to wait for these geopolitical circumstances to help their integration into the European Union. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'm looking forward to our discussion.